Hi, I'm Patty Dreyer, Portage County Executive. Welcome to Portage County Matters. It's another month. It's been a blur, but another month's gone by, and I think we've got a really interesting show for you today. I am excited about my guest today, Trish Kalbaker, our newly appointed Clerk of Court here in Portage County, and you're going to get to find out all about her duties, what the Clerk of Court's office and department does, not only for our own county, but for the state of Wisconsin too. Before I get to this awesome guest, Trish, today, I'd like to just offer you a few other news updates, and we'll start off with the fact that we've got a new county board installed here in Portage County as of the April 24th county board meeting. All of our committees are established. We're ready to go. So I'm looking forward to the next couple of years with 25 members of the county board. If you remember, we downsized the county board from 29 to 25 members, and the chair of the county board on this round as well as last round is Phil Eidsvåg, so I'm looking forward to working with him in helping to lead Portage County forward. Actually, Phil will be my guest here next month, so I'm excited about that. So anyway, I wanted to also share with you that April is National Volunteer Month, and I provided a report to the county board recently about our volunteer program in Portage County government, not to be confused with other volunteer programs across the county through United Way or faith-based organizations. This is about our county government's volunteer program. Some of you may remember that in 2010, in October of 2010, we developed a new county policy related to volunteers, and it's been a big lift-off, a really big amount of work for folks here in the county government to develop a centralized volunteer management system and to integrate best practices in volunteer management for the system-wide for the first time ever. In fact, we're one of the only counties in the state of Wisconsin that has this kind of a centralized program. Anyway, with the database that's at the core of that program, I'm finally able to offer you, and I offered the county board, details about the numbers of volunteers serving the county's mission, the amounts of hours that they served, what the dollar value of all of that is, and so I'd like to share that information with you. We have and this is the 2011 calendar year report, so we have 1,390 registered volunteers serving the county's mission. And you might wonder, well, what are they doing for county government? How are they serving the county's mission? Well, they do such things as they are volunteer caregivers providing assistance to elderly or disabled individuals in our community, like taking them grocery shopping or picking up their medications or taking them to a doctor's appointment, those kinds of things. They also do things like home-delivered meals to shut-ins. They help to maintain our trails in the parks or do our litter side cleanups along our highways. They help us provide programs at our healthcare center and so much more. So I'm really amazed about the fact that we have over 1,390 folks supporting us in our mission, and I really applaud their efforts. We have now also an ability to track the numbers of hours that they serve. And so I'm able to tell you that we have almost 60,000 hours of service that these individuals have provided to you and I across this county. And remember, with all of these services, they allow us to do a better job of reaching out. They allow us to do things more cost effectively. They allow us to stretch dollars and extend services in ways and shapes and forms that otherwise we wouldn't be able to do without their help. These 60,000 hours of service occur over 13 different county departments. So there's a diversity of roles and ways that they help lift us up here in Portage County. They equal, when you add up all of these hours of service, another way to think about the magnitude of volunteer service is that equals almost 28 full-time staff members working for an entire year's time during full work weeks of time. So it's pretty amazing to get this kind of data now. If you take independent sector data that's available, it's a nonprofit organization that helps to put a monetary value on volunteer service, even though we know that volunteer service often is priceless. But if you have to add a dollar value into the mix somewhere, this is a value of $1.26 million to us here in Portage County through the 60,000 hours of service from those 1,390 registered volunteers. So I have to just extend my gratitude on behalf of Portage County to all of you out there who are listening and volunteering, or all of your family members who are volunteering to help make this all be a better community for all of us. For those of you who are listening who would like to volunteer, we have so many other opportunities and needs, and we invite you to give the County Executive's Office a call at 346-1997, and Jamie will be sure to direct you to the right place for your interest. So thank you so very much. Other news. I've got a couple of other news bits before we move on to our guest. Child support. Well, we have a rising caseload for child support in Portage County with about 3,000 cases of child support that we're processing through our child support department. Our staff there is a staff of 10, and the burdens are great on the shoulders of those individuals to deal with 3,000 cases. So what we're looking at here in Portage County to move ahead is to do a merger between the Child Support Department and the Health and Human Services Department. And we would be creating a new section within Health and Human Services that would pair child support and economic support, since some of the families that we serve in both of those areas are the same families. And what we're looking at is a bottom line of this. With the rising caseload, with funding support for child support services in jeopardy at the state level, this new organizational model will allow us to generate more revenue and provide more child support services without increasing the amount of tax levy that we spend on the program. And the way we do that is to leverage our different model, I guess you would say, at the local organizational level for additional matching funds that come through the federal government level. And we'll be able to shift some duties off the shoulders of our child support staff to others in our Health and Human Services Department without increasing the numbers of staff needed in those areas, so that again then our child support staff can spend even more time directly processing those child support cases. This is all unfolding as we speak, and by the fall of 2012 we'll have completed this merger. So stand by, you'll hear more information, and I'm just going to look forward to making sure that we're able to serve our families and children well through this, this endeavor. So anyway, again, my applause to everybody who's working really hard on that merger. The other strategic planning effort happening in Portage County government right now is related to the Portage County Health Care Center. And I recently presented to the county board with County Board Supervisor Jerry Piasek to share the information about what our work team is doing related to the strategic planning effort. We've been in place as a work team since last fall, and we've been doing a ton of homework, getting ourselves acquainted with the field of healthcare, with our state status of long-term care, with aging demographics, and so much more information. We've been drilling down to really understand better what our healthcare center model here in Portage County has evolved to be, and identify issues that have led us to be in a place where we are now, where we have to better align our financial paradigms with the healthcare center world. It's changed so much, and very frankly, our local healthcare center organizational model didn't change as fast as it needed to be up to date with the current systems and funding changes in our healthcare system. So we're working really hard on it. We have a strong team. Jerry Piasek's going to continue to help us forward on this. I'm really thrilled about that. Our county home, as many of you may know, the healthcare center by this name, has been in its present location since 1931. Wow, talk about a commitment as a community to providing for our community's most vulnerable folks, especially at the end of their lives. And this strategic planning effort is going to is going to help us identify a levy baseline so that we can all know what to count on in our community as far as tax support for the healthcare center. There are a lot of questions before us that need to be answered, and we'll be coming back to the county board and back to you in the community. I urge you to contact your county board supervisors. I urge you to contact my office and let us know how much you value the Portage County Healthcare Center in the mix here in Portage County as a publicly owned entity. It's really important as part of our figuring things out to know how you feel about it and to integrate all of these ideas into the model of the future. I'm committed to the Portage County Healthcare Center. Our staff is committed to the Portage County Healthcare Center and finding ways that we can make it work. And we've already come a long way. I'm really proud of that effort. I want to let you know a couple of other things about the Healthcare Center before I let the topic go here today. First of all, some of you may think about the county home as the county home of yesterday, when really there have been many, many updates and many, many initiatives that have actually changed things there. So make sure that you get yourself the current picture of how the Portage County Healthcare Center looks and feels and operates today, and we invite you to come for a tour. You can give my office a call or call the County Healthcare Center directly, and we'll go ahead and be willing to show you around. There are 36 private rooms at the Healthcare Center. Some people don't think that we have as many private rooms as we have, and we know that many baby boomers would like privacy, extra privacy, and we also have 32 shared rooms. There are other residents at the home that actually want to partner with another person in their room so that they don't feel so alone. So there are all sorts of alternatives for any one of the listeners out there or their family members. And it's important that you know that we have 3 wings at the Healthcare Center. We have a rehabilitation wing, a long-term care wing, and a dementia wing. The place called the dementia wing is for people who have dementia, need dementia care, and you know as well as I that's a rising area of need in our community, especially as people live longer. The other, in the long-term care wing, what we have are people who have pretty complicated acute healthcare needs, like maybe they have feeding tubes, maybe they're at the end of life, maybe they need more complicated care, more cares than what can be provided at a regular assisted care facility. So we have a lot of alternatives for families that are looking for these other opportunities to help their loved one be well cared for at this time of their life. And the other wing, the rehab wing, is one that you might go to if you go have your hip replaced or a knee replaced and you need therapy and things before you can go home. So that's another alternative. We keep you on good therapy schedules. We have a set of therapy rooms, and we're happy to assist you. So I hope you'll check out the Portage County Healthcare Center as it exists today, and you'll stay tuned and be with us as we step into the future through the strategic planning effort that's underway to help guide us forward. So those are things, the main things going on in county government today. And without further ado, and thank you for your patience, Trish. Trish Cal-Baker is our clerk of court right here in Portage County, newly appointed.
Correct.
Since last fall, so welcome, welcome. I can't wait till everybody gets to find out more about you.
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I was appointed by the judges when Bernadette Fladoff retired last year. She had won her election in November of 2010, and then a few months into 2011 made the tough decision that it was time to retire for her, along with several other people in the court system. At the same time, Judge Frederick Fleischauer announced his retirement almost at the same time. So the judges had a tough decision to make. Lots of candidates. I think they said there were 55 people that had applied for the position. So that you're aware, and viewers as well, when a county official in the court system retires midterm, it's then the judge's decision as to how to fill that position. And so extensive interviews were...
And here you are.
Yeah,
and I have to just say, I'm really excited about having you on the team in Portage County. It's already been a real pleasure to work with you.
Thank you.
You've offered so much in the way of a forward-thinking viewpoint and a lot of fresh energy. And again, that's nothing about what the past was. It's just this, you're different, and it's a new time, and we've got a lot lot going on. So yeah, tell us more about yourself, how you came to apply, why, if you don't mind sharing that.
Oh,
and
certainly.
then also more about your specific duties before we dig into what's your department's duties all about.
Well, first of all, I will tell you that I come to this position no stranger to court. I was a prosecutor for 10 years. I also did criminal defense for a couple of years. I was a prosecutor in Marathon County for about 6 years, and then opened up my own office here in Stevens Point. I did a lot of criminal defense for a couple of years. Had one experience in particular that made me feel like I wanted to go back to wearing the white hat and being a prosecutor again. So at that point then I became an assistant DA again, and did that for about 4 years. When I had several people approach me and ask if I would be interested in the clerk of courts position, I at first said, no, why would an attorney do that? And then it was explained to me about how the county was going to be taking on the new CCAP system, and it was a lot of change happening, and I think that the consensus was they wanted somebody with a little stronger personality and someone who was familiar with other counties, how other counties operated their clerk's office, and that was something, that some tools that I could bring to the office that would be really helpful and useful in the transition, which was the transition from the county system that was in place prior for record keeping, for electronic.
Like on the computers and so on and so forth, right?
Correct. Computerized record keeping. The county changed from the system that we had previously to the system that the rest of the state uses, which is called CCAP, which I'll tell you stands for Consolidated Circuit Court Access Program. That's where we get CCAP. Everybody knows it as CCAP. So big changes in the office at the end of the year last year, and then the beginning of this year. Now I can say we finally kind of put CCAP to rest, and everything's running smoothly at this point. So that's a little bit about my background. You want to hear about CCAP? Because I love to talk about CCAP.
And just, I know that lots of listeners out there have heard a lot in the news about it. We were the last county to join the rest of the state's system on this, and I'm really glad that we have made that step. And we had a lot of well, let's just say a lot of learning around making that transition. But we had a pretty sophisticated computer system before this time, which is probably why our change didn't happen till way late in the game.
That's correct.
Yeah.
The system that the county had for managing data was a very interconnected system between county departments. Very, I like to think of it as a spider's web. And if you think of it that on each of the different spokes of the spider's web was a different department, and everybody could talk to everybody using that system that we had.
And it was homegrown, that's why, and we built it.
That's correct.
Inside.
It was a terrific system. But CCAP came along, and if you could imagine somebody taking a football and driving that football through the middle of that spider web, great big hole, that's what it caused for our department. And we had to reestablish ways to communicate with the other departments that are on the other side of that spider web electronically. So I'll give you an example. In our office, we process all of the traffic citations. So if somebody's driving through Portage County and they get stopped by State Patrol or one of our county deputies and they get a traffic ticket, that ticket first, it goes to Madison, and then from Madison at the DOT, it gets transmitted electronically to our office. We then create the paper document, and then when you come to court to contest it or plead guilty, no contest to it, when you come to court, we're the ones, our office are the people that handle that. But again, the communication, the electronic communication comes from Madison to our office, to the court system, back down to Madison when the guilty plea is entered or the no contest plea.
That helps us all understand better.
And then
hearing it explained like that.
It goes from Madison back to the internet where everybody can look it up to see, for example. And I'll tell you an example of why somebody might want to look up something on the internet. If you are an employer and you maybe own a pizza company and you're having people deliver pizzas, you want to know what kind of a traffic record that potential employee has. You want to be able to look them up and see if they've had 3 speeding tickets or some, other traffic-related problems.
Now they can.
Our system now connects with Madison, and now our records are viewable, all of our court records are viewable on the World Wide Web. That wasn't the case prior to March 30th of this year, so just a few weeks ago. All of our records now became part of that statewide system that allows records to be viewable by anybody, actually anybody in the world.
So Trish, as we talk about your job, your new job, and you've got a couple of years, and then it would be a fall election of 2014.
Correct.
Should you decide that you would like to run. What would happen between now and that time? You know, let's talk about what are the job duties of the clerk of court besides managing this transformation of this amazing electronic system that you just described, because I want people to understand what do we get when we go to the counter, if you would, and then what goes on behind the scenes, all the stuff that people don't get a chance to learn about if they don't hear it from people like you.
Well, I want to answer your first question, which is there is an election. My position is an elected position. I just happen to be appointed to it, so I kind of joke that I am an appointed elected official, which is kind of a funny way to look at it. But it's a little too far for me down the road to say whether I'm going to go back to practicing law or whether I'm going to run for this position. For right now, running the office is my primary focus. That's what I'm 100% dedicated to, and 100% dedicated to making it run as efficiently as possible, and also finding the areas where we can probably do a little bit better job.
So talk about how large your department is and what folks really get to do through your gateway, I guess you would say, to the court system.
Well, I want to come back to your second question, which was when people come to the counter, what do they get? What do we do in our office? So I've already mentioned traffic tickets. We handle all the traffic tickets, but we also handle all of the criminal cases. In Portage County, and I brought some notes with me, in Portage County this year alone, our district attorney's office has filed 147 criminal traffic cases. That would be, for example, OWIs. We have filed, our district attorney's office has filed 148 misdemeanor files and 133 felony files. That is in addition to all of the cases that were already pending. So we have several thousand cases that are pending at any given time that are criminal cases. We also handle all of the small claims cases, all of the large claims cases, and all of the family law cases.
So Trish, when you're talking about handle, you mean you're processing the paperwork, you're helping to move those cases through the different stopping points in the system to toward resolution.
Exactly. So I've already described the traffic tickets. Let me talk about a family law case or a small claims case. If, for example, you are a landlord and you've got somebody that hasn't been paying their rent properly, you're going to want to file an eviction. That's a small claims case. What will happen then is you can go online and print the actual forms, or you can come to our office and get the forms. You'll come to our lobby, which is on the second floor of the courthouse. At the lobby there, you would actually file those papers. You'll file the original documents. We will keep those, and we will keep a paper file, and that's for the judges to use. And then you'll get file stamped copies that you will distribute, perhaps have served on your tenant that's not paying the rent, or the person that you want to get divorced from, or whatever the kind of case it is. We are the keepers of the original document. We will keep those, we will keep them safe, and we will make sure that whatever happens in court is accurate. We will also send you out your notice so that you know when to come back to court to have your trial or to have your pretrial conference, whatever kind of court proceeding you have, we'll send out your notice.
So aren't you putting the whole schedule together for, say, Judge Finn?
Exactly, yes we do.
See, that's another really cool.
So let's take small claims, because that's a perfect example. So you get your notice, perhaps you're the tenant, and you've gotten your notice that you need to come to court, that your landlord's trying to evict you. And perhaps you have a dispute with your landlord. You think that the landlord, hasn't kept the water hot enough or hasn't kept enough heat, whatever the complaint is. You come to court. One of my deputy clerks will be sitting in court taking the notes and will be accurately reporting what happened into a computer. Ultimately, a piece of paper will be printed, and that will be the court minutes or the judgment, if in fact there is a judgment. And we will keep track of that. Now, I think something that you and I had talked about prior to the show starting a little bit was that one of the benefits of court is that court is the time when you get a resolution, when you come to the end of your case. Well, you may come to the end of your case, or you may feel like it's the end of your case, but then there's the next couple of steps. What happens next? If it's an OWI or if it's a small claims case, there's steps that happen after that. You're going to end up back in our lobby. When you come back to our lobby, we're going to tell you, okay, now you need to pay this, or you need to pay that, or you need to go here or go there. It's a lot of other steps that happen, and those will happen most often at our front counter. And our deputy clerks that are at the front counter will be able to answer those questions.
You know, I'm going to liken it back to that spider web that you said. You're sort of like if citizens in our community want to better understand how the clerk of courts department serves them. It's like the hub that's like the spoke of the justice
system.
and court's wheel. So you're directing people out, okay, pay your fine over here, we'll get that on record. Go over here for some drug testing if there was a case that required that. Go over here and start to process your next set of paperwork. Come to court over here. Here are the records for it. And it's a huge amount of traffic that comes through your department on a monthly basis. How large is the staff in your department?
There are 14 people that are in the clerk of court's office. There's me, and then there are 13 deputies that all have different specific duties.
Yes.
And so we're a pretty large department, but I think that the other piece of that is that we are the department that collects fines, collects any kind of payments that you have to make, not the treasurer's office like a tax. We do not collect tax.
But related to court cases is what you're talking
Anything
about.
related to a court case comes through our office, so we handle a tremendous amount of money. And what we do with that money is we then take that money, we will divide it up into the different sections where it goes. For example, an OWI has about 8 different places where money goes from that OWI.
Like to the state or wherever,
Correct,
right?
correct. And so
We've got 3 minutes to go.
Okay, all right. That money, then we have to pay that money back to the different departments that it goes to. We don't hold the money. We don't get to keep the money. We send the money out. I'm signing checks all the time to send money out.
If you looked at career opportunities in the clerk of courts kind of arena, there are some, you know?
Actually, we just had somebody retire, and so we had to do interviewing and hire somebody for that. We've actually decided to promote from within, so one of the people that was in a lesser position is now in a little bit more complicated position, so I'm really delighted about that worked out. But that leaves actually an opening for us in the office.
Now, isn't there a shortage, though, of the court reporters in the state? I thought there was a shortage of people in that field if folks are looking for different career opportunities right now.
Court reporters are completely different in that they are in court working with, assigned to a specific judge. They're the people that write all of the language down. They write everything down. And
it is amazing. Your staff showed me one day how you use the shorthand buttons, and
yeah,
it's incredible.
Yeah, it is. It is. I wanted to tell you about one other thing that we're doing in our office, which I think is really exciting, is that when I talked about all those papers that people file in our office, the Child Support Agency files papers every day. The district attorney's office files papers in small claims and family law and so forth. They get filed in our office every day. Something that we've initiated in our office that really benefits the public is we are now scanning all of those documents. Those documents are scanned and they are put into an electronic database that's actually held down in Madison. So if you come to one of our public access computers, you can sit at that computer and you can actually look up all of the paper filings that have been made.
On your case, right?
On the case, that's exactly right, at the public access computers. This is good for 2 reasons. First of all, from our office's point of view, we're not going to need as many shelves. We're not going to need to store those papers as long as previously, because we can actually destroy files after about 20 years. But the other benefit to that is that people will be able to look at their files and look at the paperwork in their files without actually actually ever handling the paper documents and potentially destroying or damaging or tampering with, which would be a felony, those paper documents. So
And
a
the other
higher
thing-
level of security in our office.
And the other thing that I really love, and I know that we've got to wrap up the show here, but the other thing I really love is that you've really gone a lot more paperless, so that we're making things more efficient for everybody at the bench and everybody behind the scenes, and certainly the
Absolutely.
citizens out there that want to have access to things like this, because they should have access as quickly as they need to those documents. Trish, I know there's a lot of different things. We'll have to have you on the show again to talk a lot more about how things are unfolding in your new service, and I am so excited to have you here. Thank you for what you and your staff do for all of us every day to make our court system work so much better.
Absolutely.
Next time, everybody, as I said, we're going to have Phil Eidsvog join me as a guest here in the show. We're going to talk about what's new in county government. Thanks.